Joining us now is a great senator from the state of Kansas, Senator Roger Marshall. Senator, thank you for taking the time. Great to see you. Senator, our audience is wondering, what is the status of President Trump's nominees in front of the U.S. Senate and the likelihood of their confirmation?
Charlie, well, first of all, I just got to say thank you for helping us make America healthy again. It sounds like you're promoting some good, nutritious meals there. So we're glad to hear that. Look, the status of President Trump's nominees, I'm very, very optimistic. And why this is so important is, talking about the obvious here, is when President Trump walks in there on day number 1 and issues 100 executive orders, if he doesn't have people in place in his cabinet, those orders go nowhere. So that's why we need to be expeditious as possible. I think we're having 12 or 13 hearings this week. We'll have more next week. Try to get some of them teed up so when he walks in here and gets inaugurated, that he's ready to go. I couldn't be more optimistic. These folks, as they've come through here, every one of them, they're well-spoken, they're great communicators, they're accomplished. I have every reason to believe that they're going to get across the finish line. Don't let the legacy media fool you. They're going to try to tear them down, take them down piece by piece, attack them personally. But I think at the end of the day, we're going to get them across the finish line.
That is so encouraging to hear. And I know that there's been some media narratives that Bobby Kennedy can't get the votes, that Tulsi Gabbard can't get the votes. So Senator, I want to lean in on one of those, which is Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy, of course, former Democrat, ran for the presidency as a Democrat, but has been very big on Make America Healthy Again. You are a physician, and you're known as Doc Marshall as well as Senator Marshall. How should we think about the Bobby Kennedy nomination to lead Health and Human Services?
What a courageous individual to put himself out here. And he's just going to get hammered by all the special interest groups. He's going to get hammered by the big food manufacturers, the people that make the ultra processed food, all those types of things. But Charlie, I think what's going to drive his nomination is the groundswell out there of people that are behind him. Look, I think it was a sentinel moment of President Trump's campaign when he got that endorsement. So there's a huge following out there for Bobby Kennedy Jr. These are the same moms that back during my campaign in 2020 that didn't want their kids to get vaccinated, that they wanted to have the choice with them and their doctors on what to do. Those same moms, and I think a lot of it is women out there, are very concerned about the health of their children, the mental health of their children. They're concerned about vaccines. They're concerned about what their kids are eating as well. So I think that's what your listeners should be focused on, is that Bobby Kennedy is locked in. He wants to make America healthy again. And I'm going to be right there standing beside him. We formed the Make America Healthy Again caucus, and I just couldn't be more excited. I've been working on this for 40 years. Bobby and I don't agree on everything, and that's okay. My own partners in my practice and I don't agree on everything, but we have the same goal, and we're locked in to make that happen, and Bobby Kennedy's the right person for this job.
I'm thrilled to hear that, Senator. And also, it's about time that we have a Health and Human Services Secretary that cares about the health care, not just sick care, not just trying to get people, routinely on drugs. Can you speak about that as a physician, that getting to root causes of the chronic disease epidemic? I'm sure you have many stories throughout your career that just throwing more drugs at the problem is not always the solution.
Yeah, Charlie, to your point, 60% of Americans have a chronic disease, 60%. When I was growing up, it was 6. So it's went from 6 to 60%. And I want you to think about this. Your health outcomes, 70% of your health outcomes are determined by you. It's determined by what you eat and the environment you live in. It's the water you're drinking. It's those ultra-processed foods that are killing Americans right now, as well as the toxins that they're adding to it as well. So once you get to me, your healthcare providers maybe impact 10 or 20% of your health outcomes. Genetics is about 10%. 70% is determined by what you eat and by your environment. And that's what we want to impact. And then we'll start bringing down this incidence of chronic disease. Think about this. A third of our adolescents are pre-diabetic. A third. 20% of our youth, of our children, are on a prescription drug medicine. Would love to come back and talk about mental health, and especially the young kids, young adults under the age of 30 sometimes. But there's a huge opportunity here for us.